We need to remind. I don't know if you did your Nick. I don't know if you did your limited before me, but we need to remember to redo it again.
Yeah. No, I'm on that. I've just got my authentication code. So all I got to do is just sit down and do it. Really.
Yeah. Oh, you've only just done it.
No, what happens is the time I went to do it, I didn't have my authentication code, so they sent me another one. So I did that, got it. So I've got it right next to me here. So and they said, I think it's the first 18 months. So it's only been what a month that's gone by since the 11th of May. 11th of March. That's what I've done. So I've still got time, and they've sent me something to let me know that I've got a week or two or a few days to get it done. So I'm not worried.
Okay. Now, can I just interject there? Sorry. Right. So now you've got your authentication code, and then everyone's gonna go into their account. When you go into your account, you can change your setting to actually send an email to you rather than a letter. Because some people prefer emails like that. Especially like that anyway, because it's company's house. So now you don't get any letters, no letters at all. So any name, you don't need to worry that there's going to be a company letter coming through from company's house, because they won't. Any letters what come through to your company, it's probably going to be something like to say, okay, do you want to register the territory? But that's just like a scam anyway, because company's house warn you of that. So you might get different people coming in trying to sign you up for different jurisdictions and territories in the world. So you don't need to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, like once you get your authentication code, if you lose your authentication code as well, it's exactly the same one. So if you send off for the authentication, they were just going to send you the same one again. It's always going to be the same code. So just write that down and leave it somewhere safe. Yeah. Put it in your files or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like if you change the setting when you get into your account, that you only get emails from company's house. Do you see? So then you won't then you won't need to worry about letters. So any letters what come to you now, you can just send them straight back, because they're not from company's house, and they're not from HMRC, because that's the only two people who will write to you and your company. Sorry. Do you see? So
that's right.
But yeah, just be aware of that when you go into the account. Just have a look around it as well. If you get any like questions or anything, just phone company's house. There's a number there for them, and just talk to them, and they will talk through you with it. Because that's what I did. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, so I thought the best people to speak to is them, because they can help you through and guide you through, and just tell you, look, I'm new to what I'm doing. My company's dormant. I don't do this because every year I just need to come but I don't keep this in my mind, because it's only once a year I do it, you see. So, and they'll understand that, which is not a problem. And they'll just guide you through it and tell you, okay, how many shares are you paying yourself? You can say 1 share or 100 shares or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they say, okay, put this date here. And that's it. That's your filing account when you're dormant. Phone them for the filing account, because then you just got to put some figures in, that's all. And they'll tell you what figures to put in and the dates or whatever, which is cool. And then that's it. That takes 2 minutes. That takes 5 minutes. Just log into that account, phone them up. They'll talk to you about that. And then when you get the confirmation statement, as I was explaining to Caroline earlier on, is all you're doing with the confirmation is just confirming that all the people in the company or all the information of the company is correct. You don't want to change your name. You don't want to change the director's name. You don't want to, do you know what I mean? You don't want to add any PSCs or anything like that. So that's just your confirmation. And that's what you pay for. Because once you do that, the administration's got to check that through and then send it through to get success, to be confirmed, basically.
Right.
So you're paying £13 for that reception person or that administration person to do that and send it, just to check it and make sure it's correct. So you've done it correctly, that's all. And that's it, really. So, yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be any perks in me putting my daughter on as a PSC. Will that make any difference whatsoever? I mean, is there any advantage to doing that?
Well, there's advantages in a certain sense, because lots of things can go in her name. But the thing about it, it's like, if she's going to go on as PSC, she might as well be a company herself and then go on. Because it's like, if she's a limited company herself, If she comes into your company, that's like another trust. Now, what Leslie was speaking about, it's like a trust you've got in your company, but it's a company within a company, like a trust within a trust. Do you see?
Right.
It's the same principle in a certain sense, but she would have to buy herself as a limited company.
I'm wondering if it's too early for me to buy her as a limited company. She's at uni, so I mean, to get rid of the uni fees, that would be worthwhile her being a limited company. But surely after she's finished with uni, because she wouldn't get next year's uni fees if they see she's a limited company.
She may do, because what would their excuse be why they ain't giving her if they're already giving her?
No, giving her for 1 year, but every year you have to reapply, don't you?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, again, if she wants to go for a uni, that's cool. And then after uni, then she can claim herself.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then if there's any uni fees that she has to pay back, she won't have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because HMRC will cancel it out. Do you see?
Oh, see, so I can do that with my son as well, couldn't I?
If you want to.
I think I might just do that.
Because otherwise they're going to have debt for the rest of their life, and like he says, they get cancelled out because they haven't.
If they're getting a loan, yeah.
Well, it is a loan, yes, it's a loan.
But that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you're getting a loan from the bank or whatever, it's the same principle, isn't it? It's like a mortgage. The fees.
Oh, no, what do you mean? It's like a mortgage? What do you mean?
It's like a mortgage. You're getting a loan.
Yes. Are you saying we can cancel out our mortgage? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, because it's not you who's paying it, is it?
I noticed your head came up there, Leslie.
You who's paying it?
Leslie, you had your hair done.
No, I need to though. It's getting like a haystack.
I thought you had it cut.
Nah, it's been months, literally.
No, but did you hear what you just said, Leslie?
What?
I said that we can write off our mortgage because we're limited companies.
Yeah, because you joined as an implied company. That's Ghost.
So
you was a limited
how would
company.
we go around that? Let me think about it. Let me think about this logically. How would we do that now?
Because they're going to write to you. They're going to write to you in the implied company. They're not going to write to you in the limited company, are you?
Yeah. So what do? You stop paying and then what?
But the same thing happened to me with my tax credits. They sent me I had to pay back something like $4,000. When I what's it called? Registered my limited company. That just disappeared. I sent the letter back. Nothing else.
So did my tax actually. I had a tax bill for $7,000 that disappeared, and
Exactly.
then I got a letter from HMRC last week. I just sent it back. I haven't heard anything from them. I was quite surprised.
So
they did it in the mist.
Okay, so let's just look at that for a second. Now,
The mortgage.
yeah, we'll come back to the mortgage in a second, but let's just look at that, because that's really important. The thing about it, the government, Companies House is above all. Yeah. Now, if we bought a company at Companies House, they're going to let HMRC know.
Yeah.
That's the only person they're going to let know. That's why HMRC drops everything, because they know that what they're doing is not correct.
Yeah.
Do you see? So they know if they drop it, as soon as that company gets bought, Companies House sends it over, they get rid of your national insurance number and they give you a unique tax reference number. So they dropped all debts for that implied company because there was no one there to pay that whatever.
Exactly.
Now, do you see? But the principle and the point I'm getting at is that the government and HMRC are together. Now, the mortgage companies, nothing to do with the Companies House. So Companies House isn't going to let the mortgage companies know that they're messing about with an implied company. They're going to let HMRC know that they're messing about, and HMRC is going to say, well, let's get rid of that. We don't want any comeback on that before they realize it's too late, and they're going to chase after us for the back pay. You see, they drop you straight away. They don't want to have any connection with you now.
But when
So
you
why,
do
why
say,
are they going to send you letters? They're not, because if they send you letters, it's going to wake you up to Ross. Why you're sending the letters to an implied company?
Same thing happened.
just
Same thing
curious,
happened to
Nick and
my,
Caroline, when you say it disappeared, what you're saying, you've got proof that they've disappeared the debt, or they just haven't chased you?
They just haven't. They haven't chased me. Usually they send me letters saying, "Oh, like an annual review." I haven't been getting that either.
Well, the child tax review only came through yesterday for me, so it could be you'll get one next week, because they seem to be rolling out the review letters at this point.
They can send as many letters as they want. I'm only going to send them back.
They haven't written. They wrote to me last year, £7,000 tax bill,
Yeah.
and it just went away. I sent it back, and I haven't heard again from them. You know, HMRC, you're hearing every 28 days or within every 2 months or something like that. Not heard a thing from them in over a year.
Is it worth ringing them up just to query?
No.
No, don't ring them up.
Because the thing about if you ring them up, you're ringing them up only
As the
As
implied
the
company.
implied,
to
right?
discuss your limited company.
Yeah.
That's the only time you're going to ring them up, to discuss your limited company. That's it.
Right,
You're never going to ring them up and discuss a ghost.
right.
So if you ring them up to mention and ask them about this mortgage loan that you've got, what do you think their response would be? There is no loan, or
Who are you going to call?
Well, I think it's tax evasion, you know, because they took a valuable signature and they did not declare the windfall to the tax people. And I reckon that's the angle on it.
you mean with the mortgage companies?
Well, the mortgage company, they by virtue of what they do, they took that valuable consideration, which is your signature, that they then use to create all their fakery. Yeah. But what they did not do in that process is the full accounting back to HMRC to say, look, HMRC, we're going to account for this original security that was given to us, for which we paid nothing. And therefore they've incurred a tax liability for that windfall that I bet your bottom dollar they've not declared to HMRC in their tax affairs. So technically it's tax evasion, and that angle would be really good to clarify.
Of course it is, because remember, they're going after the implied company, but at the same time still, so was HMRC.
No.
Until you claim back the limited company, because remember what Graham was, I'm only just going off what Graham said last time about when he tried to buy himself, there was only one company allowed.
Yeah.
You can't have another company in that capital letter name. You see, because all companies are written in capital letters, as we know. So there can't be two companies like that, because Graham's already discussed that with Companies House and Graham & Co.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give him permission to use that name. So whoever is giving that permission, you see, then they're the one, and that's what I'm saying. I think it comes back down to the lawyers and solicitors, because they're the ones who's drawing up these legal documents. Every document
How would you do
we're
that
doing.
then, Leslie? From what you're saying, how would you go about that then? I mean,
I think you would need to be talking to the tax evasion people, because what you'd be saying is, can you verify if so-and-so mortgage company declared that original security as a windfall, and did they account for it in their tax return that year?
that's data protection. They're not going to tell me, are they?
Well, no,
No,
they're
they're-
not, but they are duty
they're not
bound to
gonna do that.
recover tax avoided.
But how does that help me? Is what I'm trying to say. How does that get me not to pay any more mortgage?
No, what it is, basically, how you get away from paying, it's like basically going back to that student thing. Sorry, Liz. When students go to university, remember, they're giving identification over as well, like their birth certificate, whatever. Now, remember, it's the same thing as a mortgage. When you give over your birth certificate, they go into the registered date account of the creditor.
Yeah.
That's your registered date of birth, not your born date of birth, which is the debtor of the surname.
Right.
Because the surname was born first. That's why on your passport, you'll see your surname first. That was born first.
Yeah.
So they're saying that's the debtor straight away. Then your registration name came 2 months later. That's why you've got the registration date. That's the creditor. When you go and get a loan, they'll go into, the bank will allow to go into the treasury account to take that money out to give it. So you're loaning from yourself, basically.
Yes.
And that's what's happening. When you claim your company, your treasury account closes.
Yeah.
The closest person to the treasury account is HMRC. So if they know that they're not going to be able to get any money out of your account anymore because you've just closed the door, they're not going to come after you for any debt.
No, they may not come after me,
but because these mortgage.
Go ahead.
I think it's frozen.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Oh, I thought it was just me.
I thought it was just me as well.
Oh dear. Do you see what I'm getting at though?
I'm not sure, because you've already paid your mortgage. You've already taken that money.
Mortgage.
No, you're paying. You're giving them extra money, though, aren't you?
Yeah. So, like Leslie just said, are you still there, Leslie? You frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, like Leslie just said, if the mortgage company knows you're going to contact HMRC, is that not going to get them running scared? Isn't it easier for them to just say, we no longer have any claim, or we're no longer interested? I don't know.
I mean, it could be worth asking the mortgage company that. Did they declare the windfall tax liability when they accepted your... Because you're asking them for the full accounting, aren't you? Which includes valuing that agreement in their books.
Well, you might want to change.
Go on.
Change the question slightly from "did you" to "please provide the evidence that you did." You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you do that, if they can't bring it forward, then they never did it. Then did they?
That's right.
And then you could report them and say, "I've asked them."
Yeah.
And they're saying that they've never done this. So
we do that in a DSA, don't we? And they always say that there's some information.
You do that in writing, though.
There's some information that we're not privy to. They always come up with some bollocks like that, don't they?
No, I know, but I think if you did it under a notice, like for full disclosure, rather than a data protection thing.
Yeah, if you send them a DSA, then they're obligated to respond within the 30 days, and if they don't, you give them a 7 days reminder. And if they still don't come back, at least you've got proof of sending it to them. So if anybody questions you, or you have to go to court for anything, and say, look,
I think everybody's done that. I think everybody's written to the mortgage companies asking them to certain information. They never come back with full disclosure.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, you know that observation deck guy. What he said, you send them a note. So for instance, you'd send them like a notice of full disclosure and information, and asking all the questions that you want them to answer, and all the documents and all the evidence that you want. So in this case, Leslie wanted the full account in, and she wants proof that they've reported this thing to HMRC. And she can ask for that paperwork to come forward, or for them to arrange a date and a place where she can come to a venue to see the originals, right? Like the original credit agreement. And then when they don't answer, like you give them, like for instance, you give them 10 days, 30 days, whatever you want, as long as it's more than 3 days. And then if they don't respond, you then send the notice of, is it default? I think that might be the third one. And then you send the third one when they've not responded or not provided you what you want. And then, like you say, you do the affidavit of truth, saying I wrote to you on this date, I wrote to you on that date, I've asked for this, I've asked you to provide proof of this and that, and you haven't. And then you go through that process, and then you get a summary judgment.
See, my thing is, Rory, that everybody's done that. I'm sure we've all done that in some form. But
have you taken it to the court and actually got the summary judgment stamped? No. Right, that's what I'm saying by, I think that's what we're missing, is that we're not getting it recognised in their system, so that the bailiffs can then go and do what they do to us, but to them.
Yeah.
Well.
That's the thing, they rely on us just abandoning our process before we actually step to enforce it.
I'm up for it. Yeah.
Because I'm hearing a lot of this stuff where they're saying once you start charging these people and the bailiffs go in and you start getting the money from them, they stop harassing you because they know it's going to cost them, and they
Yeah.
know that you're going to follow through,
Yeah.
and that it's not worth their time because obviously they can't prove any of their claims, but
Yeah.
it's because we're lax in
Yeah.
not holding them to account.
That's it.
Especially if you attach a schedule fee to them not responding on time.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's actually done it and actually got through. Do you? I hear people
No,
talk
I'm in
about
the
it a
pro-
lot.
I'm in the process myself. What happened is I dropped the 30-day DSAR on them, and then they came back to me and tried to direct me somewhere else. They tried to say it was a complaint when it was an access request. So I wrote back to them and gave them the 7 days reminder, and I'm still waiting now. They've got until the 6th of May to reply. So let's just see what happens then.
Are you on Debtless, Nikki? Are you on that site?
Sorry, say again?
Are you on Debtless, that site?
No, I'm not.
Debtless?
No, I'm not.
Oh. Okay.
I'm just following Carl's examples because he's like, he's 10 years in front. So,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just moving the way Carl's taught me to move at the moment. So, I'm getting advice from Ashley as well. You've been a great help as well. So.
Who? Oh, Ashley. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's excellent with his Law of Property Act. He's the bollocks where that's concerned.
See, I'm kind of stuck with that because the Law of Property Act does not apply to Scotland.
Oh, right.
So this is where I'm okay in some senses because some of the companies I'm dealing with are English companies, so I'm holding them to English law. Even though they'll try and take me to a Scottish court, I'm going to say, well, you've signed up through Companies House as an English company, so you have to abide by the English ones. It's just the Scottish ones, so obviously the council and RBS, those are the ones that I'm kind of struggling with. But because I was doing it for my dad, and after he passed away, I got a letter from them. It took them 6 months to finally answer a DSAR for my dad, and it was a debtless DSAR. And the first question is, in what fiduciary capacity have you processed my data? And they've written back saying that there is no fiduciary capacity, and that I have to look at their privacy policy for the reasons. So they don't answer the question, is what I'm saying. When I've asked to see the original credit note, they've said they don't have it. They've admitted they don't have it and that they can't find it.
Well, then that's that. Then you've already sent that letter, so you've got you put that in your files, don't you? That's your confirmation or your proof that you've actually tried to contact these people, and you've been candor in all your affairs.
Yeah, but it's also my proof now that they don't actually have permission to process my dad's data. Because if there's no credit agreement, then they never had any permission to process his data in the first place.
Exactly, yeah. Because I've asked them for a VAT slip as well, so I'm waiting for that.
VAT slip? What's that for? What do you mean?
Because under the Bills of Exchange Act.
Yeah, exactly. If they're going to bill me, and they're a company, they must be using VAT.
But registered.
If they're not, that's right. If they're not, then they need to disclose that and let me know.
And there's no way they can't be back registered with the amount of money that goes
they
through
can't
there.
produce. Yeah. They can't produce the VAT. If they can't produce the VAT, then there's no reason for them to come to my house to take any or try to look for debt.
Yeah.
You can't bill me. and not give me a VAT slip if I ask for one.
Well, it's like with the parking tickets, though, isn't it? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
you ask them for it, yeah. And I think TfL come with some bullshit. Oh, Carl's back. What happened, Carl? Battery.
Electric went, man.
I said, we know that one well. Yeah. And what were we talking about, Carl? I can't remember. Oh, we were talking about mortgage. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just the mortgages, really.
Yeah. How do we get them to sort of like say, well, leave us alone, basically. Won't take anything more.
You can prove to them that basically they took the money out of your account, but they took it out for an implied company. They didn't take it out for a woman.
Well, who would I take that too? The HMRC?
No, it's the mortgage company. The mortgage company is the one who created the document in the first place. The thing about it, as I said to you, if you go to a mortgage company and you want a mortgage, yeah, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to go and get legal documents drawn up.
Yeah.
They're going to go and see a solicitor or lawyer to draw up the legal documents in the first place, so you guys can do the contract.
That's right.
Now, if the solicitors drew up that contract and they used the capital letter worded system, legalese, as they call it, which is a foreign language, then if the mortgage company didn't know and don't know that it's legalese that they're writing in, the mortgage company is unaware of anything. So if the mortgage company now gives you the document and you sign the document, if the mortgage company don't know that they're giving the document over to a woman, but it's converted the name into an implied company, if the mortgage company don't know that because the solicitors haven't told them that, the mortgage company is unaware. So they're going to keep chasing you.
That's going to be a heavy letter to write. You know that. That's going to be a heavy letter. You've got to
let them know that what their document is. If you go into the receivers now, or even the mortgage company, let's stay with the mortgage company. Now, with the mortgage company, you're stepping in as a limited company. And you're saying, look, you're taking over the property. So now the limited company is something new coming into the picture, like a third-party interloper. Mm-hmm. But the third-party interloper, the limited company, has got an agreement contract letter from the woman to say that the company can take over the management of the property. So you now, as Caroline, the woman, writes yourself a letter saying that I'm giving over the property basically to Caroline Limited to manage. Now, the limited company doesn't have any contracts with anybody. So now the mortgage company is going to go after the woman. But if they're going after the woman, what woman are they going after? Because on their contract, they've written the woman's name down in all capital letters. So it can't be a woman they're going after.
It's got to be a company.
It can only be an implied company, or what language are they using when they write the name in capital letters? Because if you carry on reading and accepting the name in capital letters and it's not limited, remember, you're going to be seen as illiterate, which is dog Latin, what them lot keep speaking about. A person who is illiterate, basically dog Latin, the language of illiterate people. That's what, and then you've got law Latin. You don't look at law Latin though. You've got dog Latin, and then you've got law Latin. Law Latin is the unprecedented rules and that blah 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 in the old English law. So it was all the rubbish what they were dealing with and allowed us to get on, but we were ignorant to it. Law Latin, 2 words, Black's Law Dictionary. Now, when you have dog Latin, the only difference between the two is that dog Latin has got a hyphen in between the words. Dog Latin, there's a hyphen. That means they're writing that as sign language. That means that's to mute illiterate people, because they're even writing it as sign language with the hyphen in between.
Yeah, but hold on. So if you do that, isn't that the same when you do your autograph and you put the hyphen in between your middle name and surname?
Because you're writing in uppercase and lowercase in proper grammatic.
Right.
They're not. They're writing in uppercase. Now, when you look in the Chicago,
sometimes they write uppercase, lowercase, though, don't they? Because I get messages from the mortgage company, uppercase, lowercase, with a Ms on the front.
Yes, but remember, as I said, they're writing that to the legal entity. Yeah. Which is the Christian name and the surname put together, which create, and they convert that legal entity name they convert it and they write into a capital name. It was them that converted. It's the power of conversion. It's them who converted it. Who gave them the authority to convert it?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how do I write that letter. That's the letter that I want to write. I'm just thinking, how do I write the letter? How do I?
You're right. You're writing them. You're writing to them as a friend. You are their friend, because remember, they've got themselves in trouble. They don't know that they're in trouble yet. Because you could take them to court and you can do whatever you want with them if you wanted to, especially the director of the company, because the director is allowing it to happen.
All right, maybe next week, Carl, we'll sit down and we'll try and put together a letter that we can write to a mortgage company, see what their response is, and then we pass it on to people in the group.
That's cool. But does anybody else see what, and does anybody want to else add to that in what they're thinking about and how they're seeing it?
Yeah, come on, Leslie.
Oh, my mind's.
Laurie, do you understand where I'm coming from and see that whole play?
Yeah, I do, because what you're saying is you go there as a man or woman, you sign a document, but then they convert you to an implied company, whether it's the mess. Well, first of all, the legal name, they convert you to the legal name, because like you say, a lot of times when you're filling in the form, you're not saying your name is Ms. Lauren. You're ticking boxes and all that as well. So they're creating the name. You never said that was your actual name. And like you said, and then they convert it to the capitalized name later, and which is subrogation.
Yeah.
So like you say, it's all by design. They did it on purpose, but we've just been consenting before. But now, like you say, if you come forward as a director of the company, you can show them that it's two different entities and which one are they talking to.
And that's the beauty about us doing that, because we make them aware. That's why we're going to them as a friend. We're saying, look, you've probably been scammed, because the paperwork, whoever's drawn up this paperwork for you, whether it was solicitor or whether it's yourself, you have drawn up this document with language that is grammatically incorrect, first of all, in the language. Now, again, as we're saying as well, there's only two languages they've got to choose from.
Carl, Carl, do you really think that they care? As long as they're still getting their money, do you really think they care about the language?
No, but the thing about it, Caroline, is that how they're not getting the money off you. You're making a worry out of it because you think they're taking your money. They're not. They're not taking your money. They're taking the money off an implied company.
Oh, yeah. But so what you're saying is that you write to them, let them know that you're not who they think you are, or they subrogated your name into an implied company. You're not going to be paying them any further unless. But I wanted it to go the way so that HMRC would contact them. No, I'm not doing any ironing for you, Brian. So just leave that one alone, okay?
The only trouble I see with that, it's in my mind, it doesn't matter who drew up that document. The fact is that you signed it. Therefore, it was actually your words. Whether you agree with that or not, you put your signature to a document written in the all caps, converting you. And you were settler in that trust.
Yes, you didn't have openness.
Full disclosure. Yes, that's what I was going to say.
But as we know, it's all about trust, Laurie, and that no one is obliged to inform the other party that a trust is being created. That's well established.
Right, but again, you're supposed to be the beneficiary of that trust, and the trustee is supposed to do stuff in your best interest. So if they've screwed you over with paperwork, that's not in your best interest. Yeah,
but you've signed. When you put your signature to those terms and conditions, you are establishing the trust to set yourself up as trustee, and that again is perfectly legitimate.
Yes, but you're talking about the signature, which is the sign of the nature of the document.
Yeah.
So you're signing for the nature of the document.
No, but you're signing a settler.
If you was coerced and drawn into something that you didn't know, and there was not full disclosure, and they didn't tell you. If they told you, Leslie, that okay, you signed this document, But when you sign this document, you're going to be signing this document as an implied company. So we're not going to take the money off you. We're going to go and take it out of the treasury account, get money off that, and then you can pay us as well. You're going to pay us twice.
Yeah, but
if they told you that, you wouldn't go for it.
And you wouldn't get your blooming mortgage in the system. That's the trouble. They got
no, but the thing about it, what I'm saying, no, but this is the problem that we're all in at the moment, including myself, is we've got basically all the mortgages company and everything else. They're all the middle people. Yeah. We've got to be the ones who go to the treasury itself and say, right, this is my company. Here you go. Now, what's in the assets of that? Yeah. I want this property because I want this patch of land here so I can do my own. You know, I was given this. I was put on this earth. I'm not a religious person, but I was put on this earth for a purpose to create something. We all were. Yeah. Because we've been indoctrinated into a one-track thinking. Go to work, go to sleep, go to work, go to sleep, go to work, go. You see what I'm saying? We've been indoctrinated into that to pay this system. Yeah. I was put on the earth to create something. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to create something. I don't know what it is because I've been indoctrinated. So I'm trying to break through that, man. But that's the thing about it. They know this.
Yeah, they do. And the trouble is, you know that phrase, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
This is it.
The fact that you've actually consented to it on 3 separate occasions, as soon as you accept that national insurance number and you take an act like you use it to get a passport or a driving license, 3 incidences of acceptance, that's you caught for life.
Totally. But unless
you rescind, you can rescind it, though, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally agree with what you're saying. But we have to keep going back to, well, you didn't know that you was being that way, that seen in that capacity. That's a different capacity to what you are. That's the thing. They've put you in this capacity. They didn't tell you that on all of them occasions.
Yeah, but they don't have to. That's the joke.
I know. But that's what implied means.
Yeah.
Now, because you're now the expressed company. If you express yourself as a company, like you did to Companies House let HMRC know that this is an expressed company now. This isn't implied no more. HMRC goes, whoa, okay, let's stop all the debts, which they have. They cut you off.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about it, because the mortgage companies don't know that you're a limited company. Now, let's take Caroline's scenario, if you don't mind me speaking about this, Caroline.
Go ahead.
I asked her to write a letter to the receivers to ask them if they had a contract with the limited company. Mm-hmm. They wrote back to her and said, no, they don't have a contract with the limited company, but the mortgage company has a contract with the woman, and they wrote her name in uppercase and lowercase. Now, first of all, the receivers just hung the mortgage company because the mortgage company doesn't have a signed contract with the woman. They have a signed contract for an implied company. So a ghost signed that document. If Caroline agrees to be that ghost, that's when she becomes a problem. That's when the problem becomes hers, because she's agreeing to be the ghost. The ghost is the implied company, what they converted the woman into.
Yeah.
And they tried to put her into that implied company to take the responsibility for that implied company to pay back the other company, because that's company contract law. They need another company to do business with. If you are not a company, then how can you do business? You can't. You need a company to do business with. They know that. They flip you and flip the script on you to make you the implied company so they can have a contract.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't tell you.
Yeah.
If I told you you were an implied company and this is how I can do the contract, if I didn't make you an implied company, you could have this house for free. That's what they should be telling you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It could be as simple as writing to the mortgage company and saying to them, that your understanding is that a company can only have business with a company. How have I therefore got a mortgage as a living woman? How therefore have I got a mortgage with yourself as I'm not a company? And then they would have to say, I don't know, how would they get around the fact that
it would come down to that legal definition of stromanius homo, the straw man. And if you look in Black's Fourth, I think it states one of the definitions is it's a fiction used to transfer or to act as a temporary transferee to accomplish something in law that otherwise would be impermissible, something like that. And that's how they will stand.
But on the other side of it, sorry, Leslie, to jump in here. But on the other side of it, what you're doing, you're asking them if they have see what you're doing. You're stepping in as the third party.
Yeah.
You never go in as the woman.
Yeah.
You never go in there because the woman they're looking for is the legal entity. So you never go in there as a legal entity.
Yeah.
Right. So what you're doing, you're stepping in as a third party and you're saying to them, hello, excuse me, could you explain something to me? Because I'm a bit confused. You seem to have got our company name written on this document, but we're unsure of if it's made to our company because it hasn't got limited on the end of it, or PLC or LLP at the end of the company name because you've written it in capital letters. Now, could you confirm with us as a limited company if you do have a contract with Carolina Limited? Because you're making them aware that you've got a contract in your company name, but there is no contract with the company because the director hasn't signed it.
But devil's advocate, right? Would they not say, oh yeah, we have no contract with the company, but the company became live on whatever date you started it?
You can't do that.
And this
because the contract has to be made on that day.
What I'm saying,
you signed it.
Their contract is probably a few years before you established the capital name as a company.
Yeah, that's it.
So who was?
So it's a different
did they have it with?
No, but you're asking them who was the director of that company at the time.
Ah, good point.
Who was because a company can only do business with another company.
Yes.
So who was the director of that company at the time? You wasn't. Because that company didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because it's implied. You wrote it down as an implied company. I went and claimed a limited company. I am the director of that limited company. I know it's a limited company. I don't know that's an implied company. Who the hell is that? That's why I said in my earlier talk, is that how, if they come for me, listen, I'm looking for that name. So when you find that name, you bring them to me. Because I'm looking for that name also, because that name is running around impersonating me. But it's an implied company.
You know,
So when you go and find a director of that implied company, you bring them back to me because I want to have a word with them.
There's got to be a simple way of writing this letter because what you're saying makes so much sense, but it's just
right. So what we've got to do,
correctly.
So what we've got to do, we've got to hone it down of making sense of that and put it in. But the only way we can do, all we're doing, we're being honest, we're being truthful.
Yeah,
the thing about it, I didn't create this lie in the first place. I'm just standing up and correcting your mistake. That's what you're telling them. If you want to aid and abet in a fraud, that's up to you. But don't drag me into it. That's what I'm telling them. Because
I would much rather
make it. Sorry, Caroline, go on.
Go on, Leslie, go on.
It's only this issue of joinder that I would bring forward at that point, because if you accuse them of malfeasance, have you not done the same by
because you're unaware of it.
Yeah,
because if you listen, I went to work for a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. I went and worked for him, and he offered me a contract, and I said to him, "Listen, Jed, I can't sign your contract because I know that on this document here, the passport what you're asking me to give you is a fraudulent document. They've got my name written down as implied company," and he understood that. And I said to him, look, if I sign a contract with you, I'm incriminating myself because I know that this is an implied company and it's not registered down as my limited company. So if I contract with you as a knowing that this is an implied company, then because I knew I'm aiding and abetting into that fraud.
Yeah.
I didn't know, so I can't aid and abet into it. If I didn't know about it, I can't aid and abet into it. But because now I did find out, I'm against it.
But that would mean never using the legal fiction again. So
No.
what would happen with claiming pensions, claiming benefits if you need to?
You take the title deed because that's where all the assets are. That's your treasury account. What you need a pension for? Who you going begging off? When your money's already there in the treasury waiting for you.
Well, we haven't got access to that yet, have we, Carl?
No, but that's what I'm saying, because you ain't gone down there and talked to them. None of us have. But because of the
Talk to
lockdown,
who? HMRC.
we've been speaking like this for about a year now. And we've been in lockdown. We haven't been able to do anything. So basically this year, a statue with ammunition with all of us. We've learned a lot between us all. That stacked us with ammunition that we can go and question them. Because the thing about it, you can turn around and say, look, I'm the director of this limited company. Now, this property is in our possession. Now, if you claim that you have anything within this, please prove it with a contract that you may have had with whoever you had the contract with.
Yeah.
That's a good
Let
point.
them provide you with that. Because if, again, as I said, if you make a contract, if me and Leslie make a contract together, no one else has to know.
Yeah.
Just me and Leslie.
Yeah.
No one else has to know. Now, that's between two individuals. Now, remember, when you come back to yourself as a straw man, you are still the two different individuals. You're seen as one, which is an implied company, but you know that you're the other, which is a woman who owns a limited company that they claim is the implied company, but they can't get away with. Now, the thing about it, you're between two. There's a contract between me and Leslie, but that's me and the woman. Again, you go after the man of that limited company who's allowing these things to happen in that limited company, and you make that man aware that what he's doing is he's using these 5 different things in the way he's drawing up his documents. Whether he knows that or not, he should go and do some research to check that out with his solicitors if that's correct. Because once his legal team hears about it and his legal team knows about it, the legal team's going to get scared because they know you're onto them. The people I write my letters to is the legal team, but I go through the director to get to the legal team. And once the director takes it to the legal team mouth drops and goes, fuck, we're in a problem. Because I'm not going after the man. I'm going after the legal team. Because the legal team is the one who's going to come after me. So if I'm already on their case and I already know what they're doing by using foreign languages and stuff, they're lost. They're lost. Gone from day one. Slaughter them. Talk them about 4 corners rule. Slaughter them. Talk them about the language. Slaughter them all day long. Who's coming after me now? Because the mortgage man needs the legal man to defend him. The director needs the legal man to defend him. But it's the legal man I'm coming after first. I'm going after the legal first, and then I'm going after the man. But I'm going to give the man some grace because he may not know what the legal team has put him into in the first place.
So you've got
to ask them. So you've got to make them aware that the language they're using is either legalese, is either they've written it down as because who drew up the document? If the director didn't draw up the document, he isn't the one who's creating the crime because he didn't draw up the document. That's what we've got to be aware of. Who started this thing? Who put pen to paper first?
Yes.
And it would have been the solicitors writing it in their language. Sorry, Laurie, you were going to say.
Yeah, I was saying it would have been the legal team that wrote that document.
So you need to let the director know what the legal team has done because the director might not know what the legal team has done. And then once you point this out to the director, now he knows. He cannot go against what he knows now. So now if he carries on aiding and abetting into the crime, what he knows is a crime now, because you've made him aware of that crime. If he continues, then it's up to him. That's on his head. because you've already told him this is a crime. If he wants to carry on with that crime, leave him be. Let him go and do it by himself. Because when that goes into the court, you can tell the judge, I already told him this was a criminal offence, what he's doing.
So you would write to the solicitors of the, for instance, the mortgage
No,
company?
I'll write to the director of the company and tell him.
Oh, director first, and then he would write to them. Yeah,
and ask him, do you know what this document is being done and set up? You're being set up, man. Tell him he's being set up, he's being scammed, because that's what's happening. Everybody's being scammed, but people don't want to see that they're being scammed.
But they operate under licenses to do exactly what they're doing.
This is what because they're a company, they're a limited company. They're not coming after you as a company. They're coming after an implied company. So there's no legal matter there. Because there's no one they're fighting with. Because who they're fighting with is an implied company. There's no one there to back it up and fight for that implied company. But as soon as you go with a limited company, there's someone there who can fight for that limited company. They run away.
I see what you're getting at. Okay.
Because the director isn't there to offer you anything in the first place. Let's take it for the gas, for example. If the gas man's asking you for money and you go and see the director of the gas man, you ask him, are you providing me gas? Because that's what I'm meant to be paying for. You provided me gas. So were you providing that gas for? I hope you're eating a lot of beans, Dred.
Funny. I think they'll say that they it's the meter, isn't it? That they
But this is what I'm saying. But if they never told you that in the first place, and they don't tell you that in the first place that you're paying for the meter, how the hell can you go and put gas prices up on a meter? You can't put gas prices up on a meter. Come on, man. If I take this lighter because it's a built product already, how can I put prices up on this lighter? I can't. I've already done. It's already built. It's made. A price is put on it.
I think what we've learnt lately is that, for instance, they've applied for a warrant of, they've applied for a warrant of to come in. It's not warrant of control. What's when they want to come in and
warrant of entry.
Warrant of entry. Yeah. And I rang them and asked them under what. They say this under the gas and safety 1974.
Yeah.
But I rang them and asked them what are they? What is the what number? What act is it they're coming under? And they couldn't tell me, because obviously we know that they're going to come in under health and safety, don't we?
Yeah,
and we know that
health and safety because the meter could be broken. It's the meter. It's not the gas.
Well,
it's the meter.
They're actually coming in to say they're coming in to change the meters. What they're saying, they're coming in to actually change it under health and safety. So health and safety, I've got a certificate. So where's the health and safety?
Right. So now what you can do, you can turn around and you can say, well, hold up a minute. I've switched my gas provider. My gas provider now is Limited. Who said you don't have to go into gas? You can go into any business you want. You're a limited company. You can be a gas provider if you wanted to. They are.
Yeah, but then that would affect her dormancy status, wouldn't it?
No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because the thing about it, what you're saying to them is that you have a different gas provider. That's all they need to know.
Regulated, but they're going to ask if it's regulated.
You can say, look, I have a different gas provider. Could you take up the conversation with them? Now they're talking to Caroline Limited.
Yeah, but Caroline doesn't have the meter point access number, which is how that whole system operates. It's the end.
No, but what I'm saying to you is that how, okay, you let's look at it this way. You are provided with gas by British Gas, for example. Now, E.ON gets on the phone with you and says, oh, look, we're a gas provider called E.ON. We want to coerce you into coming and we provide you with your gas. Now, Caroline could get the same letter or the same phone call from Caroline Limited. Caroline, hi, Carol. We'd like to provide you with a gas service. Who is your provider at the moment? Now, if Caroline Limited wants to provide gas, let her, because she's only doing the same thing as what they're doing. They're saying they're providing gas. They're not. Caroline can go and buy a meter and put that in your yard and charge you for gas. But she's not charging you for gas. She's charging for her meter, what's being in your property. Remember, all they're doing, they're selling over the meter to different companies. So if British Gas has got the meter, E.ON would say, okay, How many gas meters you got in there? Oh yeah, we got this amount, but they're a bit old at the moment. Okay, we'll buy them off you. So E.ON goes and buys all the meters off British Gas, and British Gas can only sell them for a lower price because they've been used over a period of years, usage. So E.ON's going to get a good deal on them gas meters. Now, when E.ON gets in there, E.ON flips it on you and says, oh, whoa, we want to sell you a smart meter. Now, because E.ON wants to put in brand new meters, because they just bought the contract of gas, British Gas, but they know that the British Gas meters they sold them are old. So protect them even more so, E.ON, they're going to go and buy new meters and put them in your property, but they've got to get your consent. That's the thing. Now, they're writing to you and they're asking you for your consent to put a meter in, because they know that the meters in there at the moment are old, because they bought the contract off British Gas, who own their meters, and their meters, they know they're old, so they want to change them so that if anything blows up, they ain't taking that responsibility off British Gas. So they've got their brand new meters in there. And
they didn't ask for consent. They didn't ask for consent. They said they were coming in. It wasn't asking permission.
No, I know, but what I'm saying to you is that they bought the contract of British Gas to give them ownership of that meter now. So that's what I'm saying, because they bought the contract of British Gas, who own that meter. They can now come in because that's their meter, because the contract, it's nothing to see the contract. See, this is where you get dragged into it, because it's nothing to do with you. It's to do with British Gas and E.ON, because they made the contract. Now, E.ON wants to be safe that the meters they bought off British Gas, they're either still safe and they can last another 10 years, or should we just go in there and just change them? But because British Gas gave us the authority and the permission, and we bought them out for the contract, there's nothing to do with British Gas no more. So now, because we own them, British Gas didn't come and tell you that they sold your meter to E.ON. So expect a letter from E.ON to come through, because British Gas didn't send you that letter. They should have sent you that letter first. But British Gas didn't do that, because it's none of your business what they're doing with their contracts between E.ON, because you're just seen as an implied company. You're a ghost, so you're not even in the picture.
Right. The other thing you said, I would have to be regulated. So if I was to say, well, I'm buying it from Caroline Angela Hibbert, I would have to be regulated under the government, wouldn't I?
You'd need a supply license as
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. All of that.
In their system. Yeah.
Now you understand what I'm saying to you. You have to take care of your business. This is your, listen, E.ON is only taking care of your business because they're the middle person, because you're too lazy to do it yourself. That's what they're saying to us. If I sat down in my yard all day, and I sat down in my yard and I took care of everything what all them companies are doing for me, it would be a busy day for me.
Yeah.
They don't want you to have a busy day doing that for yourself. They want you out there working for them, making them rich, building their empires.
Yeah.
But at the same time, still, they're using that, your natural resource, to charge you for using while you go out and work for them. And make them
I might actually do it and saying I bought it from that. I'll start with that first.
It's up to you.
See how it goes.
It's up to you, because when they step to me, they're man. Trust me. Trust me, man. Seriously, crazy. This is what it is. This is what they got us thinking, man.
Yeah.
It's a literacy that we're dealing with. So if they see you as illiterate, they see you as stupid. You ain't know what the hell's going on, and we don't know what's going on, because it's there in plain English in front of us, and we're still accepting that shit, man. Sorry for the language again. Well, I think I've just said shit once. That's it. Cool. Get about. But this is it. This is why I'm so frustrated and passionate. Because the thing about it, if anybody wants to step to me about this language business, yeah, we got a good conversation on our hand. It's nothing threatening. I know I've won the competition, because you ain't got no answers, because I've checked the answers for the last 10 years. And you ain't beating this. I'm sorry. So you best come correct. That's all I'm saying to them. That's all I'm saying to them. And that's why I'm so passionate and frustrated about it. Because the thing about it, every time I try and talk about this, it's very simple, it's very basic. But then other people want to go out there, no disrespect to them, and they want to get involved with the legal side of things where it don't even concern you. Only get into the legal if you want your corporation to trade. That's it. That's the only time you touch the legal. If your companies are trading, that's it. Never touch that. I'm in the common law. I don't trade. I barter. I help my friends out. I do things for my friend. I don't want nothing for it. But if you want to give me something for that, that's cool. That's up to you. I'm not fussed. I know we have to survive, but that's the mentality they put us in, and they indoctrinate us into that state. You know, I'm not asking anybody to follow what I'm doing, but this is just my way of seeing things. I can't live any differently now. Everything. I mean, I had to fill out an application form the other day for the PRS, just to get my royalties. Now on the form, when I go on to CD Baby on the form, I took snapshots of everything I do on the form and that blah blah blah. They're saying that they're asking for the legal name. Can we have the full legal name? Bang! Straight away hits me. The legal name. Okay, they're looking for the surname and the first Christian name and the debtor. They're looking for the creditor and the debtor. So when I put it down, but I put it down in the David Wimmer technique, and I write beside it by accommodation. So they know that I know my legal. Because when the solicitor says that, he's going to see by accommodation, he's going to say, okay, that guy's signing on behalf of the implied company. But when they go and check out that I'm a full limited company, they're going to think, shit, how do we deal with this? Because they're in the mess now, not me. They're in the mess. Because I'm pointing out the facts. And if anybody wants to call me from that department, I say, well, hold up, who are you collecting royalties for? You're collecting royalties for, and how are you going to convert the name? Because you're going to convert the name into an implied company. No, hold up, wait, don't even stay there. Because you want me to pay tax on something that don't belong to me. No, that don't belong to me. I don't pay tax. I only pay tax if there's war, and there ain't no war going on. This is the thing about it, man. They're just flipping us. They're flipping the script on us all day long. All day long, they're flipping the script on us, and they're only using the language. That's our first language, man. That's English. They're using English against us. Yeah. They're using our own language against us, man. That's wrong. And we're letting them get away with it. That's the thing. We're letting them get away with it. I mean, again, as I said, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. I mean, I'm in the position, and I tell everybody, and I always tell everybody, Caroline knows this, I'm still at home with my father. So I'm kind of like, in a way, I'm putting myself out there to try and get this thing resolved. So when I do go out there and try and get my own property, I know what I'm dealing with. I'm saying I'm the company that owns that property. I'm the company that owns that gas meter. I'm the company that owns that electric meter. Anything in that house is my property. Anything I supply into that house comes out of my supply. That's it. Show me different. Show me different. That's what I'm asking. Show me different. Because you can't. You can't. Are you taking your natural resources of gas and putting it into my house? No, you're not. No, you're not. So go away. Leave me alone. Go and chase somebody else who don't know the fuck's going on. Do you see what I'm talking about? You have to deal with them like that. You have to show them that they're the ones who's illiterate and don't know what the hell's going on. Have them tied up in a straitjacket, Jay. Seriously. Have them, because they're dangerous people, man. We need them tied up in a straitjacket because they are dangerous people. I couldn't do this to any. You know what I'm saying?
It's insane, man.
I'm only speaking reality. That's where I'm from, man. Reality.
Taking that royalties example, Carl, you've signed by accommodation on behalf of the legal name. So, thinking it through, where are those royalties going to end up?
They're going to still end up with me, but no one can tax them royalties. Because they only do it for tax purposes. That's it. Yeah. They don't give a shit who you are. If you're making $1 million, they want tax off that. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to make $1 million with my music, but I never know. But I'm making sure now that I've printed out every document, and I've taken snapshots of every document, what I've done, and I put down. I mean, like when you put down the country and they put United Kingdom, when they print it out and they show you what they've written out to sign or whatever, they cross out the country. So what I do in brackets, I write it in there, English, because it's United Kingdom, but they cross out United Kingdom. They don't want that to be seen. Why are you crossing out something you don't want to be seen? That's the question. If there's the information that meant to be there, why isn't it there? Why are you crossing it out? What are you trying to hide? If I've got something to say and I write on my heart, on my sleeve, or whatever I want to do and where I want to write, I'm going to write it and you're going to see it. I ain't going to hide nothing. What am I hiding? What am I hide for? I'm real. That's it. I'm truthful. I'm honest. Gone. That's what I'm saying. Them man, they can't deal with truth, man. They're living a completely different world to you, but you're being drawn into their world. Their world is a sadistic, evil world, and it's full of lies. I'm not in that world. I'm sorry. I can only give you truth. You want to follow them? You go follow them. I ain't there, man. Seriously. And I don't mean that to any of you guys. This is what I'm saying to them. When I speak, I'm speaking like I'm Ashley to them. I'm speaking like I'm Leslie to them. I'm speaking like I'm Caroline to them every time I speak. So don't think I'm speaking to you. I'm just telling you this is what I'm saying to them. And I want you to hear what I'm saying to them, because hopefully you memorize that shit like it was a lyric in a tune. And you go and say that shit to them and see how they stand. Because you're a woman, don't make them intimidate you. Because you're a white man or a black man, don't make them intimidate you. It's all about knowledge. We have knowledge, man. We're clued up. We're intelligent people here. We can sit down and have conversations. Yes, I can get frustrated and angry and passionate a lot of the time. But you know, I don't mean that to bring that out in an anger situation, because I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm definitely not angry.
Yes.
And I ain't no preacher neither.
Yeah, but you got the jewels. That's what's important. You got the jewels.
Hey, listen,
And you've given
them
us
jewels. We all have them. We all have them jewels, Dread. We do. We all have them jewels. It's just that nobody's shown us them jewels.
Yeah.
These might not. These might not be jewels to somebody else. Because somebody people who are trying to control us might know this information already. That's the jewels they don't want coming out.
Yeah.
They ain't telling you that. But it's for us now to take that and share that with others and show them the jewels. Show them that, look, people are you because of the language, and you ain't even seeing that. How much time I got to smack you up in your head?
You're saying you're not going to swear, Carl. You're saying you're not going to swear. You only said shit once. How many times have you said the F-U-C-K word?
Sorry.
Some people have got kids
adults here, man. We all adults here. What's up, man?
No, but some people have kids.
You can't take away the man's expression, man.
Sorry.
No, it's true.
If you got to curse it in first, man.
Just remove the kids, yeah? We just remove them out the room, that's all.
He's just defining certain things, you know what I'm saying? And I'm used to it now. Trust me, I'm used to it.
No, trust me, man. Seriously.
But I got this style, he's just cutting me off.
But the funny thing
Brian just said, Brian knows me already, man. Me and Brian used to train back in 1990s, man. Well, 1980s, man. We've been in many competitions, man. With other people.
I wanted to ask you, Carl, because I was listening to Craig the other day, and he was saying that, you know, we all know that tax is voluntary. But he said nobody in the history of man has ever been put to prison for tax evasion.
No.
And I thought, well, hold on a second. And not tax evasion, for non-payment of tax.
Yeah. Sherry Jackson would tell you that. She's the woman in the IRS.
She's the woman, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, she would tell you that.
That guy who played that black guy who played slave or he played the vampire. What's his name? He went to prison.
Yeah.
Who?
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley. Yeah, he went to prison for tax,
What's the matter, babe?
didn't he?
Yeah,
no,
he went for. But what it was he falsified his report. That's the difference.
Oh, it wasn't tax evasion then.
No.
But then
it was
but then Craig did say you can go for tax evasion, not tax. Insofar as tax evasion means if you promise, if you sign to say you're going to pay a certain amount and then you decide you're not going to pay a certain amount, that's evasion rather than tax, not non-payment. So
totally. But that's the same. But that's the same thing as when HMRC is sending you the document for your unique tax reference number, you're sending it back and saying it's dormant. That's exactly the same thing.
So if you had a company before and you decide now that you no longer have that, you no longer want to pay tax, you've got to inform them that you're not going to pay tax anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you just make if you own a limited company.
Didn't own a limited company, but I had a company before where I was paying tax.
So, but did you have a company? Was that a limited company before?
No.
What were you worried for?
Okay, all right.
Who owned that company? Do they have legal proof that you own that company? No, you have legal proof that you own this company. Here's the title deed.
Yeah, true.
You see, never get caught up in something else with somebody else if you ain't ownership of that shit.
What's up, baby? What's up, babe?
Whatever you own. You own. You know you control that. You know that you operate that. You know that nothing can go wrong unless you make it go wrong.
Caroline, sorry, Craig. What you could, Carl, sorry. What you could say is, Caroline. So that's me saying wrong names there. What you could say, Caroline, is pertaining to the Law on Property Act, Section 196. Can you please provide evidence of your service, i.e., contract with the Caroline and then your company limited? So then you're being very specific to the point of the service, which the service pertains to the contract. And in terms of when we talk contract, it could be a number of things. It could be a credit agreement. It could be an actual written contract with terms and conditions, depending on its nature or the instrument itself. But you operating as a company and using the tools that has been presented to us from this group, I think you just implement the Section 196 of the Law on Property Act, because that's specific to the service. So if you point that out, because it complies with the Companies Act 2006, Caroline. So if you just ask that one question alone, when we're talking contracts of can they evidence their service within the 196 Law on Property Act? Because you're being specific. It should put them on the back foot if you ask that question, or ask to produce the evidence.
You're talking about mortgage companies, or
Can I just interject for a second? Sorry, Ashley.
Go on, sorry.
Okay, so let me just ask you a question. Now, a mortgage company came along, right? And they done an agreement with a woman, and they wrote it in capital letters. Now, why can't that woman go over here and do another contract exactly the same as that mortgage company, but with limited? Because that woman who they seem to be looking for is a woman. So what's stopping that woman from going to her own company and getting the same contract from her own company?
But pertaining to Caroline's mortgage, Carl, what we've all got to understand is Caroline went into a bank, and banks are in a business of purchasing securities. The security is she signed a credit agreement, and that credit agreement was sold somewhere else. She then wasn't then deposited that credit into her account. Okay, so when we're talking trust beneficiaries, or Caroline as a company, or Caroline as a company in that terminology, Caroline never received the instrument that she signed because it's been sold on. It's up to Caroline as a beneficiary to ask the questions to get that note back, or to exercise it under the Data Protection Act to ask proof of it, because without it,
so
no
you
charge
can
gets the property, basically.
So you can step in as the representative.
No, you're always when we walk into our banks and we sign something, we're always the settler.
Yeah.
But what happens is the minute we sign that agreement, we become the beneficiary.
No. We agreed to become the trustee, Gash. That's the problem. That's what that agreement states.
Yeah,
We're the
in
beneficiary, but
banking
they switch us
terms.
back.
I know in banking terms, Leslie, but I'm not following their concept. I'm following us. We're settlers, and regardless of us signing something, whether it's on a piece of paper, regardless, we're still in a beneficial relationship. That's just my view and how I look at it in that respective manner.
But you was coerced into doing that because you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I agree, Carl. But this is when you ask, when you do what's called a DSAR, you ask for that fiduciary capacity to come forward on that instrument that, let's say, Caroline signed,
Sure.
i.e. the mortgage agreement, because she's asking that the security, which is the instrument that she signs, which
Sure.
holds her title.
Yes,
In
but
banking terms, yeah.
But who is she writing on behalf of?
Herself. Oh no, sorry. When we're talking company, aren't we?
The limited.
Sorry. Yeah, if it was for a company on behalf, it would be the representative of her from her company. That's how she would have to do it in that capacity. That's how I understand it. If she was
because who are they
to the mortgage company?
That's the thing. Because if she's writing to them, she can only be writing to them on behalf of the implied company.
Yeah.
And that's a ghost.
Yeah, but she could also use the company respectively to represent herself as well, even though the company's there as a ghost.
She's agreeing to aid and abetting into that crime.
I can agree and I can disagree on it, Carl. That's just me on it. When you're specifically doing a DSAR and you're asking specific questions pertaining to let's say the contracts and some implement. So why don't
you address it? Why don't you address it from the limited company then as a DSAR? Because now you're
no, that's what I suggested, but
sorry.
You sign it off on behalf of as a representative, so it's coming forward as a company, but is on behalf of Caroline. So it's like a trust, but you're coming forward as a company, basically.
They would never answer the limited company. They would always say, "What right do you have?" I suppose you're saying that I need to sign something.
You can never sign anything, Caroline, because it's giving it away.
Photograph.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go buy Caroline.
Photograph it.
But then it goes back to what Carl's saying.
Or the limited.
If we go back to what Carl's saying, you could never give something away. You could never give that away to say that you give your authority for Caroline, the company, to speak on their behalf, because the question then raises back to you as an individual, where is Caroline given the bank consent as an authority to, let's say, deal with the data, or the same argument and what they're trying to present to you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's asking a question within a question.
Yeah.
The reality is, the Data Protection Act and the GDPR is they're all supposed to just be for the natural person. But we all go forward as a legal person when we make them. So the data they give you back anyway isn't your data. It is not the data of the natural person. It is the data of the implied
the implied company,
so
or the at-law and trust. That's how I look at it.
Well, it's a legal person. It's a legal person, because they always write back to you as the first name and the surname, or they give you the title Miss or Mr. whatever. So the reality is it's not the natural person anyway. So everything that's in that DSAR is pretty much this, because it's not the natural person.
Right. I just want to interject again. So the first time you sorted out this contract, right, it was with a company. It wasn't the director of the company, or the director's name would be on that document in the first place. And that director will probably have two signatures to agree that director signed that contract. Because you need two signatures to verify a contract signing, in a certain sense. Then you got over here, Caroline's company. And that's the thing about it. You didn't do a contract with the director.
No.
You didn't do, if the guy's name's Stephen Bob Marley, you didn't do a contract with Stephen Bob Marley. You done a contract with mortgage company. So mortgage company can only do a contract with another company. And this is what it breaks down to. If Stephen Bob Marley did the contract, then Stephen Bob Marley can go after Caroline, Angela, because that's the creditor. She borrowed money off another creditor. She didn't borrow money off another creditor. She borrowed money off a company. A company can't, women and men can't borrow money off a company. Not possible. You can't borrow money off a company. Only a company can borrow money off a company. So this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's always that point of what Laurie pointed out earlier on again about the legal name. They will always come for you as the legal name first because they have to attach joinder of the debtor to the creditor. Once the debtor is joined to the creditor as the legal name, precedence takes the legal name because the legal name was, the surname was born first. That takes precedence. Your surname was born first. That's the debtor. That's why they attach it to your creditor name so they can make the whole name the debtor. And then they give it you on a certified copy of an entry written in a box. And then where we have to run around with that. That's the problem. That is the problem. So when you go to the mortgage company is doing a contract with another company. It's not the director of the mortgage company doing a contract with you. That's why I'm saying to you, you should always write to the director of the mortgage company. Actually, what I would say to Caroline as well, which I mean, I'd like to get your input on this, is that how if Caroline's the woman, now she can write a letter to herself company. So she can write a letter from her to her limited company, giving the property to that limited company to take care of.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now, that's private because that's between Caroline and Caroline Limited.
That's right, yeah.
That's private. So no one needs to know about that. So that's where Caroline Limited now comes into the picture and goes after that company and says, where's the contract?
Yeah, I get it.
Now, you see what I'm saying? Now Caroline Limited is standing on behalf of the woman or Caroline woman.
But what's happening is you're right, Carl, but at the same time, they're evident. Banks, utilities, and all these people, they're in the business. They're just an agency.
Of course.
So this evidence of them having authority or anything like that, they've got no, what's the right word in equity? They call it chose in action.
Jurisdiction, even.
Yeah, jurisdiction, which is to go about their business. So we're using the argument of going down the company, coming at them from a company perspective. What they'll try and do is they'll try and implement it of a trust res is implemented in the part where they feel they've got some right over the title over Caroline. That's why they have this thing of what's called a constructive trust within the background. And in the Law and Property Act, that's why you have these free how can I put it? Free parts of the legislation where it implements service, the at-law side, which is the legal, which we're talking about beneficiaries and the birth certificate, all the naming things that we talk about. And then you've got the beneficiary side, which is 53. So these are the three things of the
53U. Okay.
And these are these three elements you're supposed to, in my understanding and what I've studied is, that is the of way to conduct yourself on the legal side and the legal at-law side with our names, with our birth certificates, etc. And then you've got the other side, which is the beneficial side, which is to do stuff of equitable with clean hands, of discharging your obligations with debts. That
right there just explains slavery.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in that respective, but with trust, Carl, sometimes you don't have to understand it as a trust being at play, because that's the whole importance of a trust. So people don't need to know about these things. No. So as an example, us talking about the capitalization on letters and all these things, we could bring it to the attention of a judge and everything like that, but they won't recognize it.
No, but they will. They will, because the thing about, sorry to cut you there, Ashley, but they will, because the thing about it is, first of all, you can point out to them, so hold up a minute, how comes this recognized on Companies House? because Companies House recognize you as a corporation written in capital letters, registered and floating in the Admiralty law and maritime law of United Kingdom. But the owner, if the Companies House can recognize that the owner lives in England, and the definition and there's a differentiation between where the two companies are stated. Because Companies House says if you're buying a company, only a man and woman can own a ship or a property. So you have to be standing on the land. So they put you down as the man or the woman on the land of England, because that's where your country is. You're registered down as a man in England. The company is registered down as United Kingdom. So that's allowed to float in that jurisdiction of United Kingdom. That's where it breaks down the two different jurisdictions. Companies House breaks it down for you straight away. There is no ifs or buts with Companies House. Here's your company limited, all in capital letters. That's registered in United Kingdom. That's the jurisdiction, maritime admiralty law. Okay, I'm going to make that dormant. Now, the owner of that company, uppercase, lowercase, the man, lives in England. They've separated us already. As soon as you buy your company, you're separated. You own your slave now. I own my own slave now. That's what it is. You have to take back of your own slave and stop allowing your slave to do chores for other slave masters. That's it. You become your own slave master. That's all I've done. That's what I mean in respect of what I said. That's still slavery. When I say to
I agree. So that's what the Law and Property Act does with the at-law side, which we would class as slavery, and then the equity side, which is the beneficiary for us to discharge, let's say,
remember
a contract.
Remember what I said as well. Look. Try to help him out with his child when they took his child, Santosh, his baby, and his wife. Mark is dealing with it. Now it's the same principle. I said to him, look, if you don't buy yourself, remember, you are their property because you hold their slave document, the certified copy of an entry. It's called certified copy of an entry. What was it the entry into? It was an entry into their system and their rules and regulations and statutes or whatever. Now, the thing about if you buy anything you do and anything you have, they own every property you own because you're their property. You are the property. So any property that property owns belongs to them, the slave master. Now, if you take yourself out, you're not incumbent to that office anymore.
Yeah.
You see, so whatever property you hold belongs to you because you are the slave owner of that slave. So that's the property I own. I own this property. The title deed gives me the ownership of that property. That's my slave. Anything that slave name owns belongs to me because I'm the owner of that. Now, if there's any confusion with that, please step forward and show me contracts. Because you can't. Because every name you've got written down on a contract, your name's written down in capital letters, but it doesn't have the limited, the LLP or the PLC because no other contracts can be made other than with companies. So show me different. Show me the contracts you have. They don't. I
think it goes down to the contract and the signature, though, Carl. The big point is your signature, because that's the only thing that holds value.
Yes, but
nothing else.
You're signing on behalf of a legal entity. You're signing on behalf of Caroline. You're not signing on behalf of Caroline.
No, I understand that, but legally and equitably, the only thing that we can discharge anything owing is through our signature. That's the only thing that in law, that's how it's presented.
That's legally.
I can't pay with promissory notes. I could pay with precious metals because it holds value. But in banking terms, the only thing that I can discharge legally and equitably is my signature.
Yeah, that's legal. That's legally. The thing about it,
unequitably,
when you leave, when we all leave this earth, and we want to leave stuff to our children or whatever, they're going to take our natural resources. That natural resources should be going down to our children. They take the natural resources, take all of that out, the debt out or whatever. Don't even tell people that there's natural resources. They just use the money that you've earned throughout your life, go into a 9-to-5 job, and they split that up and give that, and they take the house, give that or whatever, take 40% of them. If you own the limited company, they can't do any of that. Because your children would take the limited company and now they become the directors of that limited company and they take what goes on control. That's how companies run. You have a board of directors. If one of them directors are kicked out, or a couple of them directors are kicked out, or they pass away, that's cool, because it's not them who passed away. It's not the company that passed away. It's just them that passed away. We can always bring new directors in. I mean, like, what's the longest running company going? Anybody know?
HMRC, Treasury.
HMRC. See, now the thing, whoever set that up, someone had to set that up. So there could have been a board of directors. The thing about it, it's still alive. They might not be, but it's still alive. So it's the business. So you can pass down your company down to your children, and that business can still run with all the assets within it, and nobody can touch it. At the moment, because we are their property, when we pass away, our property is theirs. So they divide the property amongst the other slaves who were the children of that slave. That's what they're kind of like doing. We're just taking that power out of their hand now. That's how I see it. That's how I can always come with it. This is why I don't really step too much into the legal system, because I know the legal system is just for slaves. And for those companies, and the thing about it, because of the slaves are made into companies, and the company can only do contracts with other companies, which creates the debt, then cool. I have to be that slave. And my birth certificate.
See, with obviously when we register yourself as a sorry, go on. I'll let this other individual speak. Go on.
I know you say about the legal side, but don't you have to speak their language as well? I mean, I know you say about about language and so on, about legalese and sign language and so on, but don't you have to come from a legal point of view as well for them to kind of get it?
Well, not necessarily. Because the thing about it, you don't even step in that department. That's nothing to do with you. There's people who go to university for 5 years who know the shit inside out, and they tear you up like nothing because they've studied that. They know how to do that. They know how to write these documents. I ain't touching that. I know how to defeat that. That's it. I'm asking you, what language you writing in? One of the solicitors told me he was writing in legalese. I know that doesn't involve me. Sorry. That's foreign to me. So I don't know about it. So I don't need you. Because you see what I'm saying? So you have to know, yes, if you want to get involved with their language, cool, go ahead. But I don't need to step in that jurisdiction. That's not the jurisdiction of common law. I haven't caused harm, loss, or injury to anybody. That's it.
But I mean, when you're challenging people, yes, you can say.
But as I said, you're only challenging people as a ghost. Because they're only fighting with the implied company unless you've done a contract with them as a limited company. They can only fight with you as an implied company. And if you want to take responsibility and liability and ownership of that implied company, then that's up to you. That's completely and totally up to you. That's where you're giving your consent, because you're agreeing to be in that implied company. I don't agree to be that implied company. I'm sorry. That's why I went and bought it. That's the kind of, now I don't need to deal with that legal language. Because if I deal with the legal language, that means I've got to go and get a solicitor or a lawyer. That means I'm now seen as the description of dog Latin. I'm illiterate because I don't understand their language. I understand their language. I know that it's called legalese. That's all I need to understand about their language. So I'm not illiterate. I let them deal with it. If I see that language, I see it as English. I don't see it as legalese. I see it as English. And if it's English, it's an acronym to me. So you see what I'm saying? If you want to deal with that language, you go ahead and deal with it. But then you got to crawl through all their books, what they've crawled through for the last 5 years, doing their degrees and masters and shit. I ain't challenging you. I ain't challenging you. You're the one who's stepping to me. I'm just defending myself. I'm defending myself. So you can't shoot me for defending myself. I'm agreeing with you. Everything you're asking me, Mr. Officer, I'm agreeing with you. You want to know my name? I will tell you my name. But if I tell you my name, this is the problem. So I'm going to write my name down for you, and I'm going to write my name down in uppercase and lowercase. But they're still going to convert it. Even though you tell them, I know you're going to convert my name into an implied company. They're still going to convert it because that's their job. That's their job. Every man's in their job. If no one was in a job and we all knew, if every man on the earth knew this information and we know that we didn't have to work for anybody else, hey, we'd be all sitting in the park eating oranges from the trees, man, and picking some nice vegetables out of the ground and eating. We'd have to kill no animal. be enough food to go around.
I think what's good though with when I'm studying with the law, with the at law and with the equity side of things, when you go through that particular route and you conduct yourself in that particular manner, yes, you got to go through a lot of hoops. And like Carl's saying, yeah, maybe you have to get a solicitor or something like that if you go down that particular way, right? But his process of using a company and setting yourself as a company, you take hold of the name of it, separates it, the title from the birth certificate. And then irrespectively to what Carl's saying, yes, you don't have to go through down the avenues of what maybe I'm going down, of doing it the legal way and the equity way. So that means of doing DSAs, doing through litigation, going to court, etc. Right? That's why I'm doing it through that way. But with a company, that all irrespectively, that won't go out the window, but it'll just be more simplified, because you're just saying, well, this company doesn't have a contract with your company. We're non-trading, you're trading.
That's it.
And another good thing, what you've just pointed out as well, and I've sat back and looked at it, Carl, is I know before people were talking about the birth notification form and saying that they need to get it, etc. But if you think about it, your company is that you've taken over that, you've separated it from the birth certificate, like in that respect. Do you know what I mean? Without even going down the road of what I'm studying.
Perfect.
Carl is loving you. Carl is loving you.
I'm just trying to separate it. When we have these discussions about me saying about Law and Property Act, people thinking trust beneficiary, and then Leslie, Caroline, Lauren, everyone has their input. People thinking what they're going on about. So what I'm trying to do is trying to separate so people can see each side of.
Well, of course, because what you're doing, actually, you're breaking it down to say, well, okay, look, a company has a board of directors. A company will have a trustee. A company will have a beneficiary. A company will have an accountant. Right. A company will have a legal team. A company will have everything. This is how we have to see ourselves. We are companies. We just don't see that because we're not a brick building, we don't see that we're a company. We're a flesh and blood man and woman. So what Ashley is saying as well is that, yes, there is this trustee, executor and beneficiary within a trust, but there's also that within a limited company, because you can't allow your limited company won't allow you to trade your limited company unless you've got 3 people. You see, you have to have 3 people for your limited company to trade. But because there's only you on the company, it has to be dormant. Because you can't trade anyway. Because there has to be 3 people.
And it's the same argument with registering yourself as a company, asking for a contract, they can't show it, and then doing what I'm doing under doing it on your own and coming forward as the individual. They can't evidence the proof of service. They can't evidence the what's known as the security agreement, which you've signed, the trustee signed, and the agent signed. They can't evidence none of this, right? But this is the side I'm talking at when you're going in position of at law and equity. If you're going down companies, you're just talking specifically about a contract. They haven't got it.
This is it. Now, the thing about it, what I would like to ask, sorry, Leslie, let me ask you this question. All right, you talk about the trust and stuff. In our example, what we're going through, in a certain sense, who is the trustee? Who is the whatever? Please explain.
What's the example of an agreement on a mortgage?
Say that's the birth certificate.
Right.
So whoever
the parent that registers the baby is the settlor. Yeah.
Triangle.
They do not. They settle that trust with the government. They register. But they don't declare their wishes as settlor. They simply convey the property, which is the baby.
So who are the 3 main people?
So the government receiving the trust property with no instructions as to what's meant to happen to it, construe that in the trust they are the beneficiary and the baby is the trustee.
Right. So we've got 3 people there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a company?
First and foremost, it's a trust.
I just want a basic principle over the top of it. Yeah. There's 3 people there. You have to have 3 people to start a company. Because there's 3 people, they can start the implied company. That's all I'm trying to point out. Now, when we look at it in terms of, you see what I'm saying, Ashley? You see where I'm coming at, innit?
Yeah, I can understand your position.
Because you've got the trustee. You've got the trustee who is us. We're the trustee. Yeah. Put in their shoes, yeah? They're telling us we're the trustee. Now, they're going to be the beneficiary and the executor. So that's the three. You've got the beneficiary, you've got the executor, and you've got the trustee.
Yeah, hold on. Can I just stop you there a minute, Carl?
That's the company.
So just for example now, you have a woman who doesn't put the debtor's name on the birth certificate, so you only got 2 people on there. So how does that work?
So, sorry, say that again?
If you have a woman and she only registers the baby and not the father, that's only 2 people.
Sorry.
It's not about.
You're saying you needed 3 people. You know, the debtor, the settler, and whatnot, right?
Yeah, Nick, the person that registers the birth, so either the mother or the father, it tends to be the mother, right, that's one person. You don't need the father's name.
Yeah.
It needs nothing to do with it. It's just,
Oh.
she's the settler or the grantor. It's an interchangeable term. Then the government is the other party, and then the baby is the third party. You see, that's the 3 parties. So you just need one person to inform. It's not both parents, it's just one.
It's known as the Holy Trinity.
3.
Yeah, that's the Holy Trinity.
But at any time, because that's
what would the
an
government
implied
be?
trust, the mother, who's the settler of that trust originally, can troll up and she can express the trust. And she can say, when I did that, I didn't give you instructions. My instructions are that that property, when it reaches the age of 18, becomes the beneficiary. And that's the missing step.
That's why you're known as the Holy Ghost.
Possibly.
You've got the Father, you've got the Son, and you've got the Holy Ghost. Remember, the Father is the government.
Yeah. That's
The
right.
Son is the mother.
Yeah.
And the Holy Ghost is you.
Yeah.
You're not even there. You don't even exist. You're a ghost. This is what I've been saying. You're a ghost.
You're a
And it's
title.
the right company. You're a ghost in that company. They don't want you to be known. They don't want you to be holy, man.
I can see how establishing a dormant company from this day forth takes you out of conflict on any contracts going forward. But what it also stops you doing, now that you know, clean hands, now that you know the fraud that they perpetrate,
Sure.
if you then go back and use that legal name to interact with the system in any way, that would be seen as fraud.
Right. But that's what I'm
on equity, not clean hands.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Now that's the beauty, because now you start ask questions. And they have to give you truthful answers now, because every question you're asking them the truthful questions. You're asking them, okay, if I sign up with this, am I signing up as an implied company, or you're going to write me down as this, or you're going to write me down as that?
Got you.
You see what I'm saying? Because you start again now. You've done your reset. You don't have no contract. But when you go into the contract, you go into the contract going for the jugular, because you know you want to know the truth.
Yeah.
That's it.
And for every commercial company,
if I'm going in there for a contract with somebody, who's a director?
Yeah.
I want to see them. Bring them.
Yeah, that would, for commercial companies, they just tell you to get lost rather than answer it. But that approach would work really well with government agencies. I can see your point. Yeah,
because they've
With
already
the company.
because HMRC has already run away from you.
yeah, yeah.
Companies House expressed to HMRC that this company was now registered. Can you please send this company a tax reference number?
Yeah.
Companies House just went, whoa.
Yeah.
HMRC just went, whoa, because they knew that any debts that name had to disappear, and they wasn't going to get it.
This is a good point you're highlighting this about referencing HMRC as a company, because you could always ask the company how are they going to discharge, because you being taxed, right, because you're non-dormant, right, you can ask them, well, how in equity and clean hands, you can say to them, well, how can you discharge it? Do you want me to discharge it from your HMRC tax account, or what's the other one that you've got to use, Leslie? There's a HMRC one and something else.
There's
I'm
a
trying to think of
public trust, you mean?
No. There's nothing to do with that. There's nothing to do with that.
All in the
It has to do.
legislation.
I can't think of the top of my head.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back to you.
It will come back to me in a minute.
But yeah,
It's eventually us. It's basically saying about HMRC. You're asking them to say, well, how do you want me to deduct this from your HMRC tax account? They'll start crapping themselves, because this is when we talk about VAT bills, which I brought up previously. So if you as a company had asked them to evidence the VAT bill, allegedly what you owed for this alleged sums, and how will this be deducted through their VAT tax account, they'll be running, because you're VAT exempt.
of course. Because that's why I don't pay tax. Even if I earn millions, I don't have to pay tax because who they looking for? Because my company's dormant. You're looking for that capital letter name. That company's dormant. That ain't gonna ever trade. So if I earn millions, who are you trying to look tax from? Because you have to look tax from a company.
Yeah, but I don't get that because the MPs and that they've got limited companies. Oh, maybe they're trading. Okay, maybe
They set up limited companies, Caroline, or they set up limited companies by shares in the taxation business, and they're tax exempt from up to, I think it's so many millions of pounds. But then what they do is they set up dormant companies like we have within that company, which then put all that subsidiaries into all the other. It's just because it's all trust within trust within trust within companies within companies within companies.
Caroline, and if you hear sorry, Caroline, if you hear, sorry, Brian, Caroline, if you hear what Ashley's saying there, look up when you looked up who was under the company. It was Alex Cole.
That's right. It was
right. And
they were the receivers.
But Alexander Cole was dormant.
Alexander and Cole. That's right. Yeah, that's
they were dormant. They were dormant, but yet still under them trading.
Yeah.
How can a dormant company have a company trading under them? Hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is what I'm talking. That's what Ashley's saying.
And check them on Dun & Bradstreet as well, Caroline, just in case if they're dormant and then they've got a company on DMV, you can be like, "Oh, who's writing to me here? What's going on?" You're claiming you're dormant, but then you've got a company's house number that's live as a credit reference agency.
Yeah.
So where are we going with this? I'm unregistered. Show me like Carl's going. Show me the contract. Keep it simple.
There it is.
As a company, keep. Do you know what I mean? In that respective, keep it
because
simple.
there was never a contract in the first place because they had a contract with a ghost.
So does that mean it's easier for them to write off the debt?
Of course it is, man. They want the thing about you question them on that, and they want to take you into court, and you bring that in front of the judge. The judge is on your side all day because he doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah. But this is what I'm trying to work out with the mortgage in that case, because obviously, like I said to you before, one of the companies, they've just disappeared. I haven't checked it on land registries to see if they're still, they're still registered as having an interest, but they've just, from October, they haven't come at me.
Not your problem.
To take anything.
Now you know it's not your problem.
Yeah, but I want them off. Well, in that case, I could probably write to them and tell them to remove themselves from land registry. Yeah. That's what I need to do because they've not come at me since. But the others are still coming at me, and I don't quite understand why this one particular hasn't.
When you start responding to them as the private limited company and you're putting yourself in the position of power for that property, then they can't show you a contract. That's exactly what Ashley was just saying.
Caroline, they haven't put a charge against your property, have they?
No. No. But what I'm saying is that one of them that obviously had the title deeds, they were taking the money out, putting it in, taking it out, putting it back on a regular. They did it for about 4 months. Now they've stopped. I haven't heard from them since October.
So you could do a DSAR from the company and ask that pertain to, I don't know, let's say the HMRC for those funds for taxation purposes.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm on the back foot.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm just thinking.
Now you've got them in a position, then work the outer circle now.
Yeah.
You went for the jugular. You went for the jugular, you got the jugular, they've run away, now go around the outskirts and make sure everybody else you can...
It's funny because I'm thinking, do I really want to wake them up? I'm thinking, shall I let it sleep in dogs lie? Do you know what I mean?
Just see what happens.
I'll leave it for a little while because I've got so much other shit going on. But yeah, I'm just thinking,
do it at a different time, Caroline, when you've got a bit more time to look into it. They're not coming for you right now, but essentially, once you've completed that, going through the mortgage and you've got it finalised, then go for them in the capacity of the way that they've handled your data. If you want to go down that particular route after you've finalised everything, but
trust me, I want every penny back. Every penny back.
I agree. Yeah. But just obviously, if you're not ready for that right now, to go down that avenue, focus on sorting the mortgage out. And once it's sorted, then go for them.
Yeah, sorting out and going to the others. Yeah, taking the others to court, whatever.
Yeah.
The ones that are continuing.
The thing about it, what you do, you go after the director of the company. You don't go after the company, go after the director. He's the one or she's the one what's allowing this to happen. So if you can prove that they're illiterate, then their company doesn't exist.
See, I thought it was the chief financial. I thought it was the CEO. Is there not? You're saying it's a director rather than the chief executive officer?
Sorry, go on, Ash.
It's two people, I think. You was right. It's the chief financial officers, and I think essentially it comes under data protection officers as well, because data protection is all to do with fiduciary capacity and the way that they're handling data, titles, your data, and everything. But then again, when we're talking companies, it is essentially it's the director, it's the chief financial officer, the CEO, because technically there's money. And the other one who runs the business.
So who is normally up top? Is it CEO or is it director? Who's above? Which one's above which? Because I always thought it was the CEO was the top.
Yes, it'll be the chief financial officer, CEO. Is that? Would you agree on that, Leslie?
No, that's the chief executive officer.
Would it be?
Yeah, that's the data controller ultimately, and they're the ones that carry the can, don't they?
Which one? The financial?
Caroline, it depends. It depends on the structure of the company. So if you go to Companies House and you look on the tabs, it will say like significant control, but the tab before that, I think it says like who the directors are and all that.
It says people, yeah. Sometimes they don't have who's significant control. That's missing on a lot.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is when you got the people one, it'll tell you if there's a CEO or if there's a director or if it's just directors. It'll tell you which one it is.
Ah, right.
Don't go on Companies House, because what they do is they hide it all, Caroline.
Yeah.
Google and just type this in. Just type in whatever company it is. And this is how I always find out. I always type in data protection officer or chief financial officer, and then I put LinkedIn at the end, and I always put it in Google.
Oh,
and what
LinkedIn.
It does,
yes.
Yeah, because what Google does, it just searches it all for you, and then what you always do is you have a shopping list of all the Muppets, and then you go through them, or you think, yeah, that's the one I want. And you can always. That's how I do it. That's how I find their names. Because they hide.
The internet, man.
True, actually. Yeah.
Listen, guys, I've got to shoot out, but actually, and everyone, you know where I'm coming from. I'm sure you've got things covered. Listen, I will be on the phone if people want me, but I've got to shoot out quickly. I might be back, but you know what I mean? Blessings, and I'll talk to you soon, yeah?
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
I've got a bounce as well, so.
Well, we could have an early one. We could have an early one.
You don't mind, I guess, yeah.
Caroline wants to go along with her ironing in his Saturday.
I finished it. Yeah. All right, we'll talk again in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully. Yeah.
Know thyself, seek and ye shall find. I tell you this now, it's in no African mind. Searching diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, them the kind of things, illusions you fathom. Yeah, they call it magic. Right, you're right, it's tragic. I know. Clever what they done, fantastic. Come against me now, you end up in a straitjacket. I'll prove you illiterate. One question, the language. Now who's the pickle in the sandwich? This kind of knowledge that you're hearing will damage you, destroy you. Don't worry, I'll employ you, get you back on track, so you can defend your own attack. Gold chain round your neck, nothing to me. Diamonds in your teeth, nothing to me. You could be rolling 22s, nothing to me. Down with the truth, now that's something to me. Gold chain round your neck, nothing to me. Diamonds in your teeth, nothing to me. You could be rolling 22s, nothing to me. Down with the truth, now that's something to me. Blah, 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 blah.